Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're diving into a headline that is absolutely guaranteed to raise some eyebrows. Why you will marry the wrong person. Yeah, I know, it's a pretty provocative take on modern love, and it's all based on this really fascinating article. So let's just get right into it.
All right, let's just jump right in with a question that, in a more enlightened world would probably be the first thing you ask on a date. Seriously, forget all the usual stuff like, so, what do you do, or where did you grow up? The essential question you should be asking is this: and how are you crazy?
And that question, it leads us straight to the core idea of this whole explainer, that we are all, pretty much, fated to marry the wrong person. I know, that sounds incredibly bleak. But the argument here is that it's just a universal reality. And why is that? Well, it's because we really only seem normal to people who, frankly, just don't know us that well yet.
I mean, think about it. Every single one of us has these hidden complexities, right? Maybe you've got this tendency to get absolutely furious when someone disagrees with you. Or maybe you can only truly relax when you're working. Or, I don't know, maybe you just completely clam up whenever you feel a little bit humiliated. The real problem is, we almost never dig into these really deep-seated patterns before we commit to someone. So marriage, it ends up being this hopeful, generous, and infinitely kind gamble. A gamble taken by two people who don't really know who they are yet, let alone who the other person truly is.
Okay, so if this is such a universal thing, then why does it keep happening? What are the hidden forces, deep in our psychology that guide us to choose poorly in the first place?
So here we can see some of the key drivers behind why we make these choices. And a really central idea here is that we think we're looking for happiness in a partner, but what we're often actually looking for is familiarity. We're subconsciously trying to recreate the feelings of our childhood, for better or worse. And then, of course, you've got other big factors, like just rushing into things because we're lonely, or trying to make a wonderful but fleeting feeling permanent by locking it into marriage, which is a whole different ballgame.
And look, this isn't exactly a new problem. It's more like we've just swapped one set of issues for another. For, like most of human history, you had the marriage of reason. It was all based on cold, hard logic, land, business, family status. And yeah, that often led to total loneliness or worse. So what do? We swung the pendulum all the way to the other side, to the marriage of feeling, where the only thing that matters is that overwhelming gut instinct that says this is it. But that could be just as reckless, right? It's almost like a knee-jerk reaction against centuries of cold, unreasonable reason.
Okay, after all that kind of depressing stuff, here comes the big twist. And get this, the good news is, it doesn't actually matter. It doesn't matter that we've married the wrong person. Now, I know that sounds completely backwards, but the crucial point here is that our choice of partner, that's not the real problem.
So, if that's not the problem, then what is? Well, the real issue is something that's been shaping our ideas about love for the last 250 years or so. It's what this is all about. The romanticism trap, the myth of the perfect partner.
And this quote, it just nails the central argument perfectly. The solution isn't to give up on your partner, no way. The goal is to give up on this impossible idea from romanticism, this idea that a perfect person exists out there who can meet our every need and satisfy our every single yearning. That person, they just don't exist. Not for you, not for me, not for anyone.
So romanticism, from this perspective, is actually a really harsh and unhelpful way to think. What it does is it takes all the normal, totally inevitable bumps and imperfections in any relationship, and it blows them up into these huge, catastrophic failures. It makes us feel so lonely, so convinced that our relationship, with all its real-world flaws, must be weird or abnormal. Okay, so what do we do about it? What's the solution? Well, what we need is a whole new philosophy for love. We need to embrace what's called a more tragicomic perspective. And yeah, that sounds a little weird, but stick with me. It's all about creating a mindset for our relationships that's way more sustainable and honestly, way more forgiving. And that solution is called a philosophy of pessimism. Okay, I know that sounds super negative, but it's not about being a cynic, not at all. It's actually a really practical way of thinking that just relieves the insane pressure we put on our relationships. It's about accepting a simple and honestly freeing truth. Every single person will frustrate us, anger us, and disappoint us sometimes. And guess what? We're going to do the exact same thing to them. And the most important part, that is completely 100% normal.
And this way of thinking, it completely reframes what commitment even is. See, choosing a partner is no longer about this quest to find a perfect match who's going to make all the pain in your life go away. Instead, commitment becomes about choosing which particular variety of suffering you'd most like to deal with. It's about consciously picking the set of challenges and imperfections you are willing to navigate with someone. It's a real choice, not some magical, perfect discovery.
So if finding the perfect person is totally the wrong goal, then what should we be aiming for? Well, it means we have to completely redefine what success in a relationship even looks like.
And this really shows that shift in thinking, right? The old romantic goal was to find a perfect complement, someone who shares all your tastes. But the new, much more pragmatic goal, it's finding someone who is just good at disagreement. Seriously, the real sign of a great partner isn't that you agree on everything, it's how you handle it when you don't. It's that ability to navigate your differences with generosity. Because compatibility isn't something you just find out in the world, it's something you have to build together.
And that leads us to what is maybe the single most important takeaway from this entire thing. Right here. Compatibility is an achievement of love. It must not be its precondition. Just think about that for a second. Love isn't about finding some perfectly compatible, ready-made person. It's the hard, ongoing, generous work, the skill of learning how to become compatible with another beautifully imperfect human being.
And so that brings us all the way back to the beginning, but with a totally new way of looking at it. The ultimate question isn't, who is my perfect soulmate? It's this far more realistic, far more forgiving, and, ultimately a much kinder question to ask. So, who would you choose to suffer with?